Okay, so what is statistics? Some of y'all responses were analyzing graphs and data, the study of data, analyzing stats, data and charts, science of collecting, somebody looked it up online. Analyzing collections of numbers, gathering, pretty much about the same thing. So at least y'all know a good sense of what is statistics. But basically, it's making sense of the world. You have all this data, you're categorizing it, putting it together to find out what the puzzle is. Or if there's some kind of image. What does it mean? What does it look like when you put it all together? So we'll start with vocabulary, like I always like to do with all my units. What is data? You talk about the collection of data, but what is it? Well, it's a collection of numbers, characters, images, or other items that provide information about something. So it's information. Respondents. Well, those are individuals who answer a survey. Well, how do you get this data? One way is to send out a survey like I just did on a Google form and say, hey, answer these questions. Subjects. People who we experiment. A little bit different. Because respondents, they just fill out a survey. Subjects, you do some kind of experiment on them. Experimental units, animals, plants, websites, and other inanimate objects. So people are respondents or subjects, and animals are experimental units, or plants and other things. Variables, like with math, the variable x, an unknown. Variables are characteristics recorded about each individual, usually shown as columns of a data, columns going up and down. So this person, what's his name? His age, kind of like what I did on the survey, right? What do you think of Cypher High School? What plans do you have after high school? Those are the different variables I asked. Sample, selected cases from a larger population. So let's say I did that survey and sent it to the whole school. But I only want to take random sampling, which we'll see a lot, or I want to pick out people who said Cy Park is big and see, well, could it be that those people don't want to go to college because they're afraid it might be too big too? Something like that. Categorical variables, variables that tell us what our group or category of each individual belongs to. Like male or female. That's categorical. The color of your eyes, skin color, color of your hair, whether or not you're in this class or not. Quantitative variables, variables that contain measured numerical values with measurement units. So this category is a description. This quantitative is something you can measure. So description, measured. We'll see more of this tomorrow. Categorical, description, what it looks like, quantitative, measurement, like miles per hour or temperature. Okay, so also is to find out the who, what, when, where, how, or why. There's got to be a reason behind collecting all this data and analyzing it. So let's take this one example. One of the reasons that the Monitoring the Future project was started was to study changes in beliefs, attitude, and behavior of young people in the United States. Data are collected from 8th, 10th, and 11th graders each year. To get a representation nationwide sample, surveys are given to a randomly selected group of students. In spring 2004, students were asked about alcohol, illegal drug use, and cigarette use. So, let's take this information and find out what is the who? Who are we collecting this data from? Do you see the who? The students? What kind of students? Be more specific. High school students? Well, that's a high school student. That's a high school student, but this one, 8th. So this is our who? Our 8th, 10th, and 12th graders. What is our what? What information are we collecting?
The changes in beliefs?
Said that to study changes in beliefs and change. Is it? Did you see?
That's the law.
What's that?
That was the law.
What did you say?
The alcohol.
The alcohol, the what is about alcohol, illegal drug use, and cigarettes. That is our what. What are we collecting from them? When are we collecting this data?
Each year.
What's that?
Each year.
Each year?
In 2004.
Okay, so yes, we started in spring 2004, and like you said, each year. That's our when. Where are we collecting this data?
Nationwide,
Nationwide, what nation?
the US,
The United States, yes. How are we collecting this data?
Sure.
Are they respondents or
the respondents,
the respondents? Yes, surveys right here. And the why was?
The study came.
Yes, right here. The study changes in the beliefs, attitudes, and behavior of young people in the United States. That's why we are doing this survey. Okay, very good. Let's look at another one. In November 2003, Discover published an article on the colonies of ants. They reported some basic information about many species of ants and the results of some discoveries found by this guy, Walter, of the University of Florida. Information included the scientific name of the ant species, the geographic location, the depth of the nest in feet, the number of chambers in the nest, the number of ants in the colonies, and that's it. The article documented how new ant colonies began, the ant nest design, and how nest differs in shape, number, size of chambers, and how they are connected. Depending on the species, wow, I'm horrible at reading. There was a period there. I said like it was not. Depending on the number of species, it is reported that nest design included vertical, horizontal, and inclined tunnels for movement and transport of food and ants. All right, so let's figure out what is our who. Who are we doing this experiment on?
colonies of ants,
Yeah, very good. Colonies of ants. Yeah, we'll just say many species of ants. What? What are we looking at? What information are we looking at?
The ant species, geographic location.
Very good. The name of the ant species, the geographic location, and the depth of the nest and feet. When are we doing this experiment?
November 2003.
November 2003. Where are we doing it?
Florida.
Florida. Very good. Somebody new? How are we doing this collecting of data? Does it say? Sometimes it just doesn't say. It's just a published article. But we know they're collecting what? Ant species. So I guess they're just pen and paper. What species was this? The location. We don't know exactly how, so we could just put in a, doesn't state. We weren't given all the information. And why are we doing this? Does it give us the why? Or just somebody really likes ants? There is kind of a why in here. Do you see it? Look where something hasn't been underlined. It kind of tells a why. Kind of documented how new ant colonies begin, the nest design, and how they differ in shape, number of chambers, and how they are connected. So the why is, what were they looking for? How they were all connected, getting all this data. A little tricky, watch out for it. All right, last but not least, let's try one more. In June 2003, Consumer Reports published an article on some sports utility vehicles they had tested recently. They reported some basic information about each vehicles and the results of some tests conducted by their staff. Among other things, the article told the brand of each vehicle, its price, and whether it had standard or automatic transmission. They reported their vehicle's fuel economy, its acceleration, and seconds going from 0 to 60, and its braking distance to stop from 60 miles per hour. The article also rated each vehicle's reliability as much better than the average. Better than the average, average, worse, or much worse than the average. Okay. Let's look at our who. What are we looking at?
Sports utility vehicles.
Very good. This is our who, sports utility vehicles. Our what? What are we looking at with these vehicles?
The brand of each vehicle.
Okay, we're looking at the brand,
Price.
its price,
And your standard.
and whether it's standard or automatic transmission. Very good. When are we doing this survey or experiment? June 2003. Where is it taking place? Does it say? I don't see it, right? Doesn't say. I mean, we can assume America, but don't want to assume. So NA. How are we doing this?
By reporting the fuel economy.
Yeah, we're taking reports, right?
Yeah.
We're guessing from mechanics. That is our how. Probably doing some test experiments, like probably on a freeway or a racetrack. And why are we doing this again?
To rate each vehicle.
Very good. The whole point. Statistics got to have some kind of point, otherwise you just wasted some time. Or you could just be curious. A lot of times the point is just curiosity. But this actually has a pretty good point. The vehicle's reliability. Let's see. Brand of each vehicle. Is that categorical or quantitative variable?
Category.
Categorical. Its price?
Quantity. Cause it's like measured, but.
Well, no.
Category.
Quantitative. It's numbers.
Category, cause like different categories and prices.
Yeah, because usually when you see the price of a vehicle, what do you see? Between 0 and 10,000, 10,000, 2,000, so category, yeah. And it's fuel economy,
That's quantity.
quantitative, right? You gotta measure that. Okay, good. That will lead you into the 2 quizzes on Schoology. Go ahead and do those 2. They're pretty short.